I don't believe what I just saw.
This is one of the great moments in the history of baseball.
I believe in miracles. Yes!
Is this the dagger?
June 22nd, on this day in sports. Today, and today only, the Maroons go too far into the red. Stan the Man has the bases totally covered. Detroit's favorite son gets to the top. McEnroe makes a statement. The hand of God reaches all the way down to Mexico. Pudge squats for a record. Lindros says no merci. And the biggest upset in Wimbledon history, maybe. Plus, former 30-30 guy and Gold Glove outfielder Jose Cruz Jr. joins the show to adjudicate this week's Dork draft about the best father-son duos in baseball history. And who better to judge than him? So many delights forthcoming on today's episode of This Day in Sports.
Fantastic. Yes, Jose Cruz joining us because, of course, this is Father's Day week.
Yes.
So we thought that would be a good tie-in with the father-son combos.
It all comes together.
Very excited about that.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's cool. Good get.
Good. It's a good get.
All the gets are good.
Yeah.
And this
Yeah.
one just very special around Father's Day week.
And we'll talk about it because his kid's playing Double-A for the Tigers now. So it could be a three-generational MLB players for the Cruz family. And speaking of three-generational and Father's Day, what a great week to swing by Cabin, Barber, and Gentleman's Supply, whether you're a grandfather, a father, or maybe a son.
That was a loose tie-in.
I'm making it a little folksy
was
there.
a
I think,
stretch.
at the
It was
end.
good.
Well, sure. But any generation's welcome here. Cabin, Barber, and Gentleman's Supply. On Board is our sponsor. Fantastic as always. An incredible barbershop, incredible place to pick up anything you want to further enhance your life as a human. Really, doesn't even have to be a guy. Mm-hmm. You can get. And Matt, name something. I'll tell you if it's here or not.
Boxer shorts.
Yes.
Thumbtacks.
No.
Okay.
And antique sewing machines.
Yes, actually, but they're not for sale.
Okay.
On display. Thank you, Frank. That's right.
Tire irons.
It's no.
Okay.
However, well, maybe.
You never know.
Hatchets.
Probably.
There are hatchets.
I'm
Cigars.
sure. Thank you, Frank. Cigars,
Cigars, yeah.
example.
Ties,
Cigar
rings,
clips.
bracelets.
I mean,
Beard wax.
Definitely axes. I was going to say definitely axes because this entire place looks like an axe throwing league.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Plaid.
Oh, lots of plaid.
Lots of plaid.
So much plaid.
Yeah.
A wonderful staff.
We're not taking it. Oh, yes, we are taking one more. Yes, we'll take wonderful staff. There's a wonderful staff. Fantastic folks down here. Come down here, get your haircut, get your beard trimmed, do everything you want to do here at Cabin. There are 3 locations. This is the Port Credit location we're currently in. You can head down to Union Station in Toronto, down by I'm trying to say Lakeshore, but I'm really trying to say Harbourfront. There's also another location. Go check it out. Queens Quay. Thank you, Frank. For more, go to cabinforlife.ca. You will not regret it.
I'll bet you if, this is Father's Day week, I bet you if you forgot to get something, gift certificate possibly.
Oh.
Absolutely. Or sometimes you don't go to see your father on Father's Day. Maybe it's like a few days later. You get a chance to go down here and grab a gift and go, hey, I picked this up for you.
Hey, Pops.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Now,
Would you like to have a catch? No.
You mean play ball?
Yeah. Like the end of Field of Dreams.
Exactly.
Would you like that?
I think
nice little
there's
moment.
even an online shopping component too.
There you go.
Thank you so much, Frank. It's absolutely true. We are covered on Cabin. We appreciate everything you do for us.
June 22nd. Let's
That's
get back
right.
to
Let's
this
get
day
to
in
that.
sports.
Let's do it.
I'm going to jump right in 1993 when White Sox catcher Carlton Fisk caught his 2,226th career MLB game, passing Bob Boone to become the all-time leader in games played at the position of catcher. It was the last game he would catch in the major leagues. He is second all-time in games caught now behind Ivan Rodriguez. Interestingly, both of those share a nickname. We did nicknames.
We did.
Was our draft last episode.
Yep.
But both Carlton Fisk and Ivan Rodriguez are nicknamed Pudge.
Yeah. And both deservedly so.
Great nickname.
And
Perfect
they're
nickname.
both, of course, in the Hall of Fame and are only 0.3 apart in WAR.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fisk is 68.4 and Rodriguez is 68.7.
Wow.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah. That's two of the all-timers there. Yeah.
That is 2 of the all-timers.
And I'm also sorry, I just want to jump in and say that Boone, let's not forget about Bob Boone because he may come into play later. Bob Boone of the Baseball Boone dynasty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look
Father,
at you
son.
tying it all together.
Bringing it all together in a bow.
Yeah.
Right now.
And if you need wrapping paper,
Head on down
to Cabin. Yeah.
Now, in June 22nd, 1938, due to financial woes resulting from the Great Depression, the Montreal Maroons were forced to suspend operations just 3 years after winning their second Stanley Cup. The move left the NHL with 7 teams currently operating. Many of their players were sold to other teams or just absorbed into the Canadiens roster. So there were 7 teams in 1938. The one team outside the original 6, the New York Americans. So that time they had the Rangers and the Americans in New York. And when they had 8, they had 2 teams in Montreal. Interesting thing. I often thought, and I think a lot of people think, that the Maroons and the Habs are the same team. They thought at one time the Maroons were, then they became the Habs. I think that might be a
no, they played each other.
Misconception.
They did, but I mean, that's the 30s. I don't blame a kid who's 12. They just know that.
No, fair enough.
Yeah.
We're setting the record straight right here.
I blame them.
They both played at the Forum, the Montreal Forum.
Yeah,
that was the home arena of both of them, I believe. Yeah.
June 22nd, 1986. Diego Maradona scored 2 goals to lead Argentina to a 2-1 win over England in the quarterfinals of the World Cup in Mexico. His first goal came in the 51st minute when the ball bounced off his hand and into the net off his left hand as he raced to get it against English goalkeeper Peter Shilton. There was no replay, no video review at the time, and the game officials missed the ball hitting his hand and going in the net. In a press conference later, he sheepishly said the goal was, quote, scored a little bit with the head of Maradona and a little bit with the hand of God. Yeah. It has since become known as the Hand of God goal. His second goal came just 4 minutes later when he started out with the ball in his own end and went on a 60-yard, 11-second dash where he deked out 4 England players and then sent the goalie to his rear end with an incredible feint before depositing the ball into the empty net for the game winner. In 2002, the second goal was named Goal of the Century by fans on the FIFA website. Argentina won the World Cup that year, and there is now a statue commemorating Maradona's performance outside Estadio Azteca in Mexico City. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
And if you've seen the footage of that second goal,
it's incredible.
It's like a video game.
Yeah,
It's the greatest soccer goal I've ever seen. And not that I've seen as much as many, but that
it just seemed like everybody's just standing around watching.
Yeah, he really is on another level at that time. Yeah.
And I like how you kept it clean with the rear end.
Yeah.
You know.
Hey.
You don't know who's going to come on the show.
Right.
You know, we might be sponsored. Kids listening. Yeah.
I don't want to say ass.
Oh, there you go.
Damn it.
1937. Challenger Joe Louis defeated James Braddock with an 8th round knockout at Chicago's Comiskey Park to become the world heavyweight champion. It began a streak of 12 years as champion until Louis retired in 1949. After winning against Braddock, he had 25 consecutive title defenses, the most of any boxer in any weight class in history, and his championship reign was the longest in history. In many ways, Louis was the first black hero in America. He was deeply respected by everyone for his military service, his work ethic, and his quiet dignity. After retiring from boxing, he was invited to play as an amateur in the 1952 San Diego Open, making him one of the first black men to ever compete at an PGA event.
What year was that?
This is
1952.
Oh, sorry, that was 1952.
Yeah.
But he defeated James Braddock in 1937 on June 22nd. But this is a double punch because 1 year later, so June 22nd again, but 1938, exactly 1 year after defeating James Braddock, he crushed German Max Schmeling in the first round at Yankee Stadium, avenging the only loss of his career to that point.
Oh.
And that was obviously
during World War II and beating a German. It was a big. Yeah. I think that was a big thing that made everybody love Joe Louis even more.
Oh, absolutely, it did.
Pummeling the German in the middle of the
in 1938. Yeah.
It's listen, and then of course there was the whole thing in Nazi Germany. Like Max Schmeling was a huge hero, and that was a huge deal, and that obviously happened. Speaking of Germany. June 22nd, 2006, in a major upset, the U.S. men's soccer team was eliminated from the World Cup with a 2-1 loss to Ghana in front of 41,000 people in Nuremberg, Germany. Ghana, a relatively small African nation, has approximately 10% of the population of America. That's amazing, and huge upset, obviously, and obviously America should know bad things happen to people when a bunch of people get together in Nuremberg.
Yeah. We'll edit that out later. That won't be repeated.
Damn, back-to-back Nazis.
And I said rear end trying to make this thing.
I didn't swear. I just said 2 Nazi facts.
No, I'm just there's nothing wrong. I'm just citing Nazi facts.
Okay, that's
1999, and perhaps the biggest upset in Wimbledon's history. Number 129th ranked Australian Helena Dokic, just 16 years old, defeated world number 1 Martina Hingis 6-2, 6-0 in the opening round. It ended Hingis' streak of 11 consecutive Grand Slam events where she reached at least the semifinals, and it was the first Wimbledon appearance of Dokic's career. She managed to reach the quarterfinals that year. Imagine being 16 years old in your first Wimbledon match, and you beat the world number 1.
Yeah.
And whooped her, 6-2, 6-0.
Wasn't even close.
Incredible.
Dokic won the final 11 games in that upset, and then the game took under an hour.
Yeah,
54 minutes. Just incredible.
Took her to the shed.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Took her to the shed.
Don't say it like that.
Well, I didn't.
Don't get weird, Matt. I'll make another Nazi joke.
I'll put you on your rear end.
Oh, jeez. Let's go to 1994. June 22nd, 1994. Soccer again. The U.S. men's soccer team defeated Colombia 2-1 in front of 94,000 fans at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, California, in their group stage match of the World Cup. The win was the American men's team's first World Cup win in 44 years. It was also the first time the U.S. hosted the World Cup, and the Americans advanced to the round of 16 that year before being eliminated by Brazil. Brazil went on to win it all, defeating Italy 3-2 in penalty kicks, making Brazil the first country to win 4 cup titles.
I had my first apartment in Toronto in Little Italy in summer of 1994, and I remember that was it was insanity in my neighborhood during the World Cup weekend. We were on the 3rd floor, and I remember looking down. There was policemen on horses and stuff. What is going on? They went crazy. It was really exciting.
But this was pretty big for the U.S. Men's soccer team.
Yeah.
And I would encourage you. The opening ceremony of this World Cup was held at Soldier Field in Chicago. Diana Ross came out, and during her song, she takes a penalty kick and completely misses the net. Oh. It's worth checking out.
Oh my god! I didn't know that it even existed. I didn't know that happened. But the thing I'll say to Mike, my favorite moment in Toronto was when the Portuguese fans suddenly lose and take off their jerseys and put on Brazil jerseys.
That's right.
I love that moment. And it's we always like Brazil.
Yeah, we were always on board.
In 2007, June 22nd, 2007, for the first time in history, the first 2 picks in the NHL entry draft were American-born players. Patrick Kane, first overall by Chicago, and James Van Riemsdyk was taken 2nd overall by Philadelphia. Interesting. First 2 American-born players back-to-back. Interesting careers by both of them in many ways. I would definitely say Patrick Kane's has been more successful, but also probably more controversial.
Yeah.
Oh, a lot of people had Kyle Turris ranked number 1.
He went 3rd, right?
Yeah, he went 3rd. The Coyotes took him.
Yeah.
PK Subban went in the 2nd round.
2nd round.
Yeah.
Wow.
1995, during a 9-0 Brewers win over Toronto, 2 30-pound, 8-foot by 2-foot acoustic panels fell from the roof of Toronto's Skydome into the stands, injuring 7 people in the 7th inning. 2 people had to be removed on stretchers, and several required stitches. In lieu of a lawsuit, several members of the people who were hurt were allowed to pitch for the Blue Jays that season, as it seemed to make no difference. The Blue Jays that year finished that year 56-88.
What year was that?
1995.
Wow.
Yes, that was Henkin was still there and Al Leiter, but that was a lean.
Yeah, sure.
That was a bad team.
Have either of you ever, or Frank included too, any of you ever been hurt at a sporting event?
Hurt
as a
spectator.
Fan.
As a spectator. A foul ball or a puck.
I hurt my hand pretty. Kyle Seager ripped the ball back, and I caught it with my bare hand, and I regretted it instantly.
Yes.
My whole hand went blue. All this inside my hand went blue.
But what did you do with the ball?
Gave it to a kid.
There you go.
That's the right thing to do.
I'm just surprised how so many people just grab it without any fear whatsoever.
It zipped right back. I caught it without thinking. Instantly hurt. I took the ball. I stuck my hand in my beer. And then the kid behind me, though, she was talking to her dad. I was like, that would have went right at her head.
You saved her face.
So I gave the ball to her.
I have a very vivid memory of being maybe 9 or 10, and my father taking us to see the Niagara University Purple Eagles college basketball games just over the border in Niagara Falls. And my dad letting me go to the concession stand to go and get like 2 popcorns and 2 pops or whatever. I was probably just old enough to go on my own, so maybe 10 or 11, whatever. And like I had to go to where the floor is, and then the seats were like up a bunch of stairs where all the seats were, right? Like we were up halfway up the set of stairs. And as I turned the corner with 2 popcorns and 2 pops, I hit the first step and fell and like threw the popcorn like I had a yard sale. I buried all the people in the front rows with stuff, and like I cried because I hurt myself. That was that's one of the great moments in the life of Mike Scherer. Yeah, and I'm glad I've shared it with you.
You just wanted to go home, right? Did you stay for the game?
Oh yeah, we did stay, but it didn't go well. No, that was a bad time.
Well, thank you for
sharing.
So
I was kind of injured as a fan, but of my own fault. It wasn't because a ball hit me or something. It was just because I was a klutz.
I once, not a sporting game, I once wiped out running for a bus and the ice. The whole bus watched me do it, but I was wearing a balaclava because it was so cold. So embarrassed, got on the bus, boiling hot, didn't take the balaclava.
No, you didn't want to know who you were.
Just sweat the whole way downtown just because I was like, no, I don't want anybody knowing who just wiped out right in front of the bus. 1987, with the first overall pick of the NBA draft in New York City, San Antonio selected Navy center, the Admiral, David Robinson.
Great nickname.
After completing his military service, Robinson joined the Spurs 2 years later and embarked on a Hall of Fame career, leading them to their first 2 NBA championships. Other players selected in the draft were Scottie Pippen, went 5th overall, Kevin Johnson, 7th, Reggie Miller went 11th, Horace Grant went 10th, Mark Jackson went 18th overall.
And of all those guys, Mark Jackson was Rookie of the Year.
Wow. Really?
Yep. Wow. Beat all those. Well,
now
Robinson didn't play.
Robinson,
but and Pippen really didn't play much in. It wasn't Pippen yet, but Mark.
So sorry, go ahead.
No, 18th overall. He's Rookie of the Year. That's pretty impressive.
And with the company he's surrounded by, those are all great players.
That's right.
When Robinson eventually did arrive at the Spurs, he did make a difference. I mean, the year before he started playing, they went 21-62. The first season he arrived, they went 56-26.
So San Antonio will have had the first overall pick in the draft 3 times since joining the NBA. They have picked David Robinson, Tim Duncan, and now Victor.
Yeah.
Like they will, like who everyone is saying is the consensus best prospect in basketball, at least since LeBron James.
Yeah, sure.
Like that's pretty good.
Yeah.
You've had the first pick 3 times, and you took 3 generational, by all sounds of it, certainly 2.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
If it works out.
Like the Raptors have had the number 1 pick once, and they had Andrea Bargnani.
No. 1981, during his first round match at Wimbledon versus fellow American Tim Gullickson, John McEnroe shouted at the umpire in frustration, uttering a phrase that has now become synonymous with his bad boy behavior. Frustrated with a call, McEnroe shouted, "You cannot be serious," at the ump. It became his calling card. He later called umpire Edward James an incompetent fool and was given 2-point penalties and fined $1,500. I mean, you cannot be serious. You can use that in any ad campaign. When you're Jimmy Connors and you say you're an abortion, you're never going to get an ad out of that. You're never going to get an ad out of that, Jimmy Connors.
Yeah, no.
You know, and McEnroe can ride that forever, but Jimmy Connors that's such one of the worst things I've ever heard.
You're not going to be in an American Express commercial saying that.
No, absolutely not.
2006, for the first time in 35 years, the NBA announced that it was going to use a new ball for games. Made by Spalding and featuring a new trademarked material called Cross Traction with 2 X's, which ought to tell you it was terrible right away. It had an interlocking cross-panel design. The ball was supposedly redesigned with the new material to optimize grip. The problem was almost every player uniformly hated it. Shaq said it felt like one of the balls you went to buy at a toy store, and several other players said the new material made cuts on their hands when they held and dribbled it, and that it stuck to their hands when they went to shoot it. That's not good. Apparently, if it got moisture on it, it made it very slippery, too. So scoring actually went up by 2.5 points per game when it was in use. But on December the 1st of that year, the Players' Union filed a complaint with the National Labor Board because they were never consulted about the new ball and cited tests that revealed that the ball bounced up to 8% less and 30% more erratically when it did bounce. 2 weeks after the Players' Union complaint, the ball was pulled, and the league returned to its previous ball.
This is what I don't understand. Is like, why would they implement something like that?
Why
Was the
bother?
other ball
I know.
so terrible?
And no one
understand
was
there's-
complaining about the old ball.
Yeah,
Clearly.
You know, it's like a backroom deal.
Well,
Someone says, "I got this ball,"
bad
and they're like,
marketing.
"You know what? Let's try it out in the NBA."
Yeah.
You know?
Well, what are going to tell anybody?
What are the balls they use made of? Are they made of leather? No.
I thought it was leather.
It might be, right?
Yeah,
so
leather,
maybe it was an idea to make something cheaper and more easier to, like the cross.
That might be it. I mean,
traction material was made out of, some sort of.
But I also remember because leather used indoors and then the rubber ball or whatever used outside.
Yeah.
And then the year they had that like indoor outdoor ball that came out and everyone was so blown away by the technology. It was just sort of a different rubber.
Yeah.
But
I think it was probably also just a crass commercial attempt to make everybody buy a new ball too, right? Like
of course.
all the fans and
It was originally made of leather, rubber, and now it's like a synthetic composite.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there you go.
This made me think. You remember that SNL parody, that commercial, Happy Fun Ball?
No.
Happy Fun Ball. Do not taunt Happy Fun Ball. They were just this ball kids would play with, and the warnings were. Anyway, this made me think of that with all this.
Maybe they should have called it that.
The Happy Fun Ball. Phil Hartman would narrate that one. I think it's quite funny.
Now, Matt, are you up?
No. Oh, I think I'm done.
I got to get one more off this list because Mike announced it off the top. Mike announced it off the top. Sometimes we don't deliver
get it in
because it's
there.
usually my fault. And June 22nd, 1991, the first pick of the NHL entry draft in Buffalo, New York, the Nordiques selected Oshawa Generals forward Eric Lindros, already nicknamed the next one. Lindros had told Quebec that he would not sign with them, but they selected him anyway. He held fast to his promise, and probably his mom Bonnie had a lot to do with that. And the standoff lasted over a year before he was eventually traded to the Philadelphia Flyers in exchange for Peter Forsberg, Ron Hextall, Steve Duchesne, Mike Reekie, Chris Simon, 2 future first-round picks, and $15 million. Wow. Lindros did become a 6-time All-Star for the Flyers before concussions shortened his career, and a Hall of Famer. But the trade laid a foundation for the Nordiques, who later became, the Avalanche. And I believe wasn't it the first
year they were in Colorado?
They win the Stanley Cup in 1996, which is such a burn on Quebec.
with basically all those guys that you just named, leading them to the that's a king's ransom. That's got to be one of the most lopsided trades in any sport.
That Forsberg career was a better career than Lindros?
I think you probably have to, right?
I mean, they're both Hall of Fame, right?
Way different players.
Yeah,
very
different.
players.
But certainly, in the discussion, and Forsberg went 6th overall, and wow,
Frank, I'm curious if you can find out who who those 2 first-round draft picks were as well.
Oh yeah,
because that was also part of this, was the first-round draft picks that they ended up getting for Lindros.
Well, Frank looks for that. Should we do some quick hits?
Quick
yeah.
hit.
You know what I just want to say there is, Forsberg went 6th in that draft. The Jets drafted 5th and took defenseman Aaron Ward. Not a bad player, but you could have had Forsberg at 6th.
Yeah.
Who knows? You can look back and
well, Forsberg was a bit challenging because he at the time said, "I'm not going to come to the NHL for a year or 2."
That's right.
He played in the Olympics.
Right.
He did internationally. Right. So you get a little nervous when guys start saying stuff. Like that.
Draft idea for the future: draft oopsies.
Draft oopsies.
Yeah.
Put it down, Frank.
Like where you
someone write that down,
Okay.
Frank. Draft
Frank,
oopsies.
put that in the notes.
If this is correct, they selected Matt Sundin, Owen Nolan, and also Joe Sakic.
That's
come on with those picks.
Can't be.
No, those guys were all drafted before Lindros
Are you
played,
sure?
weren't they? Yeah, I think so.
We'll dig into that. We'll dig
We
into
may
that.
have to edit this. Let's just go to quick hits. Pretend Frank didn't say that. Quick hits. Quick hits. 1994, Seattle's Ken Griffey Jr. hit his 31st home run in his 70th game, putting him on pace to break Babe Ruth's single-season record of 61. His pace slowed badly after that, and then the strike happened, and Griffey finished the season actually with just 40 home runs. But on this day in 1994, he was on pace to beat the Babe.
Yeah, I remember that hype.
1981, quick hit. Despite MLB and the Players Association being 11 days into a strike, the Phillies somehow signed pitcher Steve Carlton to a 4-year, $3 million extension.
Quick hit, 1991, world number 1 Monica Seles. Her tragedy won me a draft recently. Seeking her 3rd Grand Slam win that year with 1 remaining, mysteriously withdrew from Wimbledon. And everyone was very unsure what the heck was going on. It turned out it was just shin splints. She returned soon afterwards and won the U.S. Open in August of that year.
Quick hit, 2002, Marlins second baseman Luis Castillo went 0 for 4 in a game versus Detroit, ending his 35 consecutive game hitting streak. It was the longest hitting streak in MLB by a second baseman, which has since been tied by Chase Utley in 2006, and it remains tied for the 10th longest streak in MLB history.
Quick hit, 1997, quarterback John Kitna threw for 401 yards and 2 touchdowns to lead the Barcelona Dragons to a 38-24 win over the Rain Fire in World Bowl 5 in Barcelona. Kitna then returned to the NFL for the next 15 years, playing for 4 different teams.
That guy's head was so big he didn't need a helmet.
Quick hit!
Quick hit! That was my quick
That was it.
You know what? That is going to be my quick hit. What the heck? Mike, you got one?
Okay. Quick hit 2004. South Africa's Wayne Ferreira set a WTA record when he appeared and won his first round match at Wimbledon. It marked the 55th consecutive Grand Slam tournament he had appeared in, breaking the previous record set by Stefan Edberg. While that streak has since been bested by a few players, including Roger Federer, Ferreira has another very rare claim to fame in his career. He's the only player to have a winning record against all of these players. Roger Federer, John McEnroe, Ivan Lendl, and Bjorn Borg. Sorry, I said that wrong. He doesn't have a winning record against them. He beat all of those guys. And he's the only guy to have beaten all those players. I don't think he had a winning record against Federer and McEnroe and Lendl and Borg. That was a misread. Misread.
Okay.
That was a
Quick hit.
That was a quick shit.
Yeah, quick shit.
Quick shit. Quick hit. I'm going all the way back to 1922. We're at Center Court at Wimbledon. It was officially christened by King George V and Queen Mary as they attended the tournament's opening day. There are nearly 10,000 seats and room for 3,600 standees. Christening Center Court at Wimbledon.
June 22nd, 1987.
June 20th.
Okay. Are you doing the voice? Is that British? Is that
No,
my voice?
I thought your voice
Is that my
just
voice?
broke. I thought you broke.
I thought you were doing like a queen. Like
No, I thought you were getting
christening
emotional.
something.
I thought
Oh my God. I am. Well, I should. June 22nd, 1987, Tom Seaver officially retired. He tried, but he had a few bad starts for the AAA Mets team in Tidewater. His final quote was, "There are no more pitches in this 42-year-old arm that were competitive. I'm all used up." And I always we had George Grand on recently, who was a teammate of Seaver's at USC, which is a friend of the show, George Grand.
Friend of the show.
Indeed.
But it always shocks me that Seaver pitched for those 86 Red Sox, but didn't get into the playoff roster. But he was on that 86 Red Sox team that lost to the Mets.
Imagine it might have made a bit of a difference if he was okay.
It could have been really interesting. I always think like an alternate history.
For him to have pitched against...
he has one good game in him.
Yeah.
And he beats the Mets.
Beats the Mets in the World Series. Yeah. I know. One more. 2009, 29-year-old American Lucas Glover shot a 3-over par 73 on the final day, but held on to win the U.S. Open by 2 strokes over David Duval, Phil Mickelson, and Ricky Barnes. The 2009 U.S. Open was a rain-soaked affair held at Bethpage Black in Farmingdale, New York, and it ended up being the only major tournament win of Glover's career.
Whoa.
I got one more. I got a quick hit.
Do it.
1984, The Karate Kid came out in theaters.
Thank you.
Yes.
On this day, June 22nd.
So exciting. Love it. Let's get some birthdays real quick, guys.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, Mike, you had some?
No, that's good. Yeah, no.
I've got 1982, 4-time All-Star second baseman Ian Kinsler in Tucson, Arizona.
1963, 3-time MMA heavyweight champion Randy Couture in Everett, Washington.
1971, happy birthday to Kurt Warner, former NFL MVP, who was born in Burlington, Iowa. And if you'd like to learn more about Kurt Warner, you can watch American Underdog with Zachary Levi.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
In 1987, in North Babylon, New York, Danny Green, 3-time NBA champ, including your Toronto Raptors, was born there. And Danny Green, of course, we always remember he won with us, but he also gave us all a heart attack in his terrible inbound against the Golden State Warriors, where we thought, oh my God, are we going to choke on this play?
He is the luckiest man in basketball.
He really is.
He could be the Bill Buckner of Toronto.
Oh my Lord.
Man, is he lucky.
Oh, I guess I got it one death here, friends. Are you okay with that? Or you guys want one more birthday, Mike?
I got one more birthday.
Give me some happy news.
Yeah, okay. On June 22nd, 1903, Hall of Fame pitcher Carl Hubble, who was a 2-time National League MVP and a 9-time All-Star, was born in Carthage, Missouri. Not many pitchers, 2-time league MVPs.
No.
Pretty impressive.
How about we throw in a happy birthday to Champ Bailey? In 1978, 12-time Pro Bowl, Hall of Fame cornerback Champ Bailey was born in Fort Campbell, Kentucky.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Great player.
One real tragic death. 2002, Cardinals pitcher Darryl Kyle, age 33, passed away. Darryl Kyle, who was part of some pretty good pitching staffs. And I'll tell you one thing. There was one season you look up at Darryl Kyle when he played for the Rockies. The guy could hit.
Oh, yeah?
There was one year where he could really hit. And it's and if you ever play on a team in the National League where the pitcher is a better hitter than you, you suck.
Yeah. Yeah, you're a Mendoza.
Well, now circling all the way back, because we talked about this quite a bit. We talked a little bit because it's Father's Day week, and we have some connections with some father-sons going on this week, and I think that's a big one to focus on, and we're so happy to have an amazing judge today for that, and we got to fill up these teams with these all-time MLB baseball only father-son duos who some were much better than the other, but certainly most out there were pretty good.
Yes,
both really good, and we're gonna draft them up.
We are.
All right, so we're going for the best combo, like the two of the father son that make the best combo.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I think so. I mean, at some point, it's just the marvel that both played in the MLB, but certainly early rounds are going to be hot.
And how are we going to determine?
We rolled a 3-sided dice on a dorky dorky dice site, probably for D&D. 3-sided die.
And it's me, right?
And Mike won. I'm going second, and Matt's going third.
Oh, bother.
Okay. Now, obviously, there's a huge debate right at the top, but for me, I'm going to go with guys I liked better. So I'm going to pick the Griffies, Ken Griffey Sr. and Ken Griffey Jr. Ken Griffey Sr., by the way, a highly underrated player. His son was, I think, the better player, but Ken Griffey Sr. was a terrific player and a key part of those,
the Big Red Machine.
Big Red Machine. He was a 3-time All-Star. He was an All-Star Game MVP. He was a terrific, terrific player, and he should get, I wanted to have his name talked about. He had over 2,100 hits in his career.
I don't disagree, and the cool thing about him is they played together at the end.
Yeah, so cool, right at the end there. That was great. So and just both of them, if you see Senior interviewed, he's really funny.
Yeah.
They're both really funny guys, easy to like, as opposed to another family.
Great segue. I'm going to dive in right away with my pick. I'm going with the Bonds. I got to go with the double Bonds.
Yeah,
Bobby Bonds, Barry Bonds. Together, the combo, I'm going to say the best father-son combo in Major League Baseball history. But, a lot of issues there, no doubt. But unbelievable players. Bobby Bonds, a lot of tragedy. Barry Bonds, a lot of, allegedly.
Bobby Bonds.
Allegedly. Thank you.
Some drugs might have been involved in his system as far as steroids.
Allegedly.
But, I mean, the WAR, you look at it, Bobby Bonds, 57.9. Barry Bonds, the WAR, 162.8. Is that possible?
Yeah.
Wow. It's insane. But I got to pick him second, or it's just completely insane.
Oh, yeah. I think those are the consensus top two.
Yeah. It gets a little interesting now, eh, Matt?
It does get interesting for Matt. Now, we should point out that Jose Cruz and Jose Cruz Jr.
are not eligible.
Thank you so much, because Jose Cruz Jr. is going to be our judge today.
That'd be too ass-kissy to pick them.
Yeah, we took them off the board for now.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So my pick, it gets a little subjective here, but I do think that I'm going to go with this duo isn't done. And I think it could even climb on this list. I'm going to go with Vladimir Guerrero and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Okay. Because I think, Jr., he could still, we don't know. We don't know where he's going to end up.
We don't.
And so I think I'm going to take them as my first pick.
Well, there's nothing wrong with having a dad as a Hall of Famer. So that's
exactly.
Choice.
And, maybe
indeed.
two. I don't want to say, but maybe two.
I don't want to say. I don't want to say.
I feel very confident with.
Hold on. Are you saying that if Vladdy Jr. doesn't get into the Hall of Fame at some point in his life, it's you cursed him
right now?
Is that what you're afraid of?
I don't want to talk during the no-hitter. I'm just saying.
Okay, that's fair.
Fair enough.
Totally fair.
Kind of
I don't want to say.
I don't want to say. My next baseball family father-son combo is the Fielders.
Yeah.
Cecil and Prince.
Yeah.
Amazingly, both of them finished their careers with 319 home runs each.
Yeah.
That's pretty incredible. Certainly Prince, you'd think, if he hadn't had neck problems and had to retire so young, probably becomes a 500 home run guy, and you're looking at a Hall of Fame player. Cecil was not going to be a Hall of Fame player, but I think Prince was on a trajectory, certainly to be. He was he hit 50 home runs when he was 21, I think, with the Brewers.
Yep.
Wow.
He was pretty incredible, and also I like both those guys too. I'm going all amiable team. On
I
I
respect that. It's Father's Day. You got to do that. But I think also Prince, Cecil was going for home run every single time. Prince was a good hitter.
That's correct. Yeah. And also an excellent base runner for a big dude too.
Yeah.
Like he ran really well.
Yeah.
He didn't get and a good fielder too.
Yeah.
Hence the name.
Yeah, but that's different styles. But I mean, Prince underrated hitter, but Cecil Fielder obviously in Toronto, beloved in Toronto, and
I went to acting school in Windsor briefly, and we used to go to Tigers games at Tiger Stadium. And I saw, so this is all ties together, I saw the Mariners play the Tigers in the early 90s, and Ken Griffey Jr. was playing center field. And as you remember, Tiger Stadium center field was 440.
Yeah.
So you had to hit a bomb to get it out in center field. And Cecil Fielder hit one that sort of like short hopped the wall in center field, like bounced it off, like it was a rocket. And I think he thought he got it. So he kind of jogged a bit, and Griffey threw him out at second.
Oh boy, yeah.
So it all ties together. My team is coming to but it was fantastic. Like he got booed so badly.
Yeah,
but he hit a ball like 435 feet and got thrown out at second.
And like what? So roughly what year is this?
That'd be like 90, 91, something like that.
So this is like the era. It was like Mickey Tettleton and
all the bombers. Like they were all like Rob Deere.
Yeah, Rob
they had
Deere
that team full of sluggers. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It was, and it was basically every time they went to the plate, it was all or nothing.
Yeah, they're all looking at MASH, except Trammell. He was the only guy who could actually play.
Sure.
And Whitaker, like those guys were good, but yeah.
Okay, well, Mike, I'm not going to let you take everybody that is lovable, lovable. Or I
understand.
I got to get into the Alou family. Felipe Alou.
I keep getting my pocket picked. I think these guys are going to drop to me. But picking third is tough.
You got to get the Alous.
But I mean, you had Felipe, Matty, and Jesus. So you had the three Alou brothers playing all at the same time. Two of them played together. They were 60s, 70s baseball at its best.
Yeah.
Felipe Alou. Baloo, of course, if you're a fan of the Jungle Book, is the bear. Or a Cub Scout.
Great in that movie.
Possibly a Cub Scout.
Yeah.
So I think that I just love that family. I mean, I everything about that family. Because the Latin culture that came into the 60s in baseball went through a lot of difficulty being accepted. And the Alous were a big part of getting these. And they played in big cities. They played San Francisco, and they played for the Yankees, and of course Oakland and that. But they just, I don't know, driving factor behind it all. And then, of course, Expos. Yeah. Royalty, really.
Yeah.
And
would have been a World Series manager, possibly.
Yeah, possibly. But the class
and a World Series player. And one of the most gross injuries in baseball.
Oh, great. We got them all.
Okay. Remember that?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, super gross injury is not the category, but it's bonus points.
But it should be one.
But right? I love the Alous.
Make a note.
I had to do
Great
it.
Pick.
There we go.
Pick.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Now it gets tough, Matt. I understand.
Well, every round for me is tough, but I'm going with.
Oh, really? Underdog status is cheap.
I'm going to go with the Stottlemeyers.
Oh,
Mel Stottlemeyer and Todd Stottlemeyer.
Yeah.
I think this is where I think I got to get them off the board right here, and I feel really confident about this pick. My team's really coming together.
Okay.
Stottlemeyers. All right. I'm just going to
the Stotts.
Track that for Matt. It is true. This is kind of the toss-up land.
Yeah. It's me, right?
It is you.
Yes. I am going to take in the same along the lines of Matt's first pick. I'm going to take the Bichettes.
Yeah.
Dante was a terrific hitter, an all-star several times. Hit a lot of bombs for that Colorado. Speaking of teams full of sluggers, him and Vinny Castilla and Galarraga and
Walker,
and they'd all just bomb away and lose 12-11.
Ellis Burks,
lose 12-11.
Yeah.
But he was a terrific hitter for a long time, and I think he's Bo's hitting coach now too, as well. And I think we're seeing now Bo clearly of the young Jays players is I think the best. He's the guy who looks to me right now like who's on a Hall of Fame trajectory.
Yeah,
I was surprised by Dante's WAR being lower than I thought it would be.
Well,
and I'm like,
you'll mention when I'm saying his praises, I didn't mention defense. I did a lot of talk about his hitting.
Yeah.
He was maybe what you might call a liability.
Yeah, I think that
he had a good arm.
Steered me away,
but he had no real range.
That's why he got traded a couple times before he found his way. Like he was like Ivan Calderon out there. He couldn't really. George Bell, along those lines, like the guy who's a slugger, and you live with the bad defense in left field, because he hits you 40 home runs.
That's exactly it. But his kid is a better player. At this point, we're definitely seeing that. Okay, well, I'm going to go with the Alomar family now.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's Sandy Alomar Sr., and then you got Roberto Alomar and Sandy Alomar Jr. It's a fantastic... All three... I mean, Roberto Alomar is a Hall of Famer now. It's a bit troubling to talk about Roberto Alomar, perhaps, but as far as baseball player, probably the best all-around second baseman of all time, possibly. You could definitely make that argument. His father was a second baseman as well. Was quite good, actually. Sandy Alomar, when he played for the Angels, and we had a nickname last episode. I like Sandy Alomar Sr.'s nickname because he had 2 seasons in a row where he played every game, and they called him the Iron Pony.
Oh,
As a tribute to Lou Gehrig, instead of the Iron Horse, they called him Iron Pony.
Don't Google Iron Pony.
Yeah, you already did that. Yeah, that's right, Frank.
I'm still getting
But I do love that nickname because I think it's kind of sarcastic. Like, oh, you played two seasons in a row and never missed a game? You're the Iron Pony. Yeah, it's so great. But great baseball family, obviously. Much like the Alous, but because of Roberto lately, it's a little less classy than the Alous.
Yeah, I was going to go there for sure. I think that's a really good pick.
Cue the violin. It's Kippin's pick.
Oh boy, yeah, no chance.
No, I feel good about this one. I'm going. I'm going to ring the bell. I'm going Gus Bell and Buddy Bell.
Hey, there we go.
I feel really good about Buddy.
Yeah, he was a good player.
Great
underrated player. Yeah,
very underrated.
Yeah,
and Gus, good player too.
Gus was good too. Yeah. Okay, this is my last pick, and I'm delighted they fell to me. I am going to take the Boone family.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, but now which Boones?
I'm going to take Bob, and then Aaron and Brett.
Well, no, you have to take one father, one son, right?
Do you? Because I took Sandy Alomar Jr.
Yeah, he took
as well.
the two Alomar.
I'm going to go Roberto. I go Roberto if I have to. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't, because then you get 3 players. Aren't we choosing?
I don't
a
really
father,
think-
son?
I'm not making a team that goes in the field.
No,
I'm just talking about father.
I don't think Jose is going to get too worked up about it.
I just want to know which seed outperforms.
I'm going to take the Boones, Bob and Brett, and like Aaron wasn't as good a player as Brett, but Brett may have had some assistance. He was pretty big there for a few years.
Yeah.
But Bob Boone, like maybe a top 15 catcher all time, top 20. Mm-hmm. And Brett Boone had one unbelievable year with the Mariners. We had like 120 RBIs and
2001.
Yeah, he was. That's right. The year they won 116, he was unbelievable that year. So that's my last. I'm delighted to take them 4th overall.
Well, great choice. It gets a little difficult. I know Matt's going to be upset with whatever pick he gets, but I'm going to go with Tom Flash Gordon and D. Strange Gordon.
Yeah.
You have a guy, Tom Gordon was so hyped as a prospect.
The Royals.
Didn't quite totally work as a starter. Then he became a closer and was a pretty damn good closer.
Yeah.
And, of course, his kid, D, he led the majors in stolen bases 3 times. He had a 64 base, 60 and 58 stolen base season. Solid player. 2005 hit season, 2-time All-Star.
Also, Tom Gordon, great nickname, too.
Yeah, Flash is a fantastic
great
name.
nickname.
Yeah. And,
Tom Gordon, 3-time All-Star. Like,
yeah, it was. I know, but I also want to highlight that people often talk about like guys like Smoltz being a starter and a reliever, and like that's an amazing transition.
He did too.
Tom Gordon did that too.
Yeah. And also, D. Strange Gordon had that amazing home run the day after, or the first game after Alex Fernandez died.
That's right.
They were really close friends, remember? Yeah. And I think D. Strange Gordon only hit 1 home run that year.
That was it. Wow.
Don't quote me, but he didn't hit many anyway. And on the first game back, he hit that home run. He was crying around in the bases.
Yeah.
As a very memorable moment.
I don't know if that was the only one, but I can tell you, it just jumped up here. I think he hit 18 in his entire career, so it wasn't many. I mean, he stole.
How many stolen bases?
336 in his career.
Wow.
But 11-year career, ended a bit early, but still the speed at the time, that was
and kind of cool player. That one was a really good pitcher and one was a really good player.
Completely different players.
You know what I mean? Like, I think that's the only one we've picked so far where they're like one pitcher, one.
That might be true. That might actually, that's one pitcher, one batter. Absolutely, is true. Cool. That's exactly it. Matt, where are you going?
Oh, okay. Okay, so I need a ruling on this. So, Mike, you took Bob Boone and Brett and Aaron. I would like to take Ray Boone and Bob Boone.
No.
Oh, I see him.
Well, you never took Ray.
There's 250 father-son combos in baseball history.
But you left Ray out of the equation.
No,
but Bob's
Sandy?
taken.
I think it's
I can't believe you're climbing on me because I wanted Aaron and Brett, and you want to take the same pick I made.
No, I'm taking.
What is wrong with you?
I'm taking a different father and son.
You know
the
what?
same father, though.
I think because
If we
No,
tried
it's
to
a
do
different,
that,
like,
okay,
yeah,
we're changing through
yes.
generations.
just put yourself. Imagine his
Yeah.
face. Imagine his face if one of us tried to do that to him.
he would hate it.
I have them
he would
ranked
close
separately.
Yeah.
He would close his computer and
Yeah.
like shut down, pull his
Yeah.
hat over his eyes,
Yeah.
and like start
leave.
to shake.
Maybe leave.
Yes.
Yeah.
Matt would not like this move, but I don't think it's such a bad thing. I'm going to give it to him because it's just on brand with what Matt does.
I honestly don't think I'm doing a jerk move. I
No,
think I'm
okay.
giving
I want
Ray
it made
some
very
credit.
clear when
Yeah.
we do this draft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That I made my pick first.
Sure.
That he
Oh,
is
noted.
sandbagging me. No,
Noted.
because he won't know if we just send him the teams.
No, Jose is going to know very clearly. You're going to make it very clear, I'm sure,
I'm gonna.
about that pick.
That is some horse shit.
I chose a different father-son combination.
Okay. All right.
Douche.
Ray Boone
No.
had not been taken,
Douche.
Yeah.
and his son is Bob Boone.
Could have taken Fernando Tatis and Fernando Tatis Jr.
Yeah, could take
Nope.
Gary Matthews Sr., Gary
Nope.
Matthews Jr.
You
Could
chose-
have
Tony
could
Gwynn
have
Jr.
taken
You chose
Dizzy
the
Trout
douche
and
route.
Steve Trout. I could, but
Yeah. You thought I'd like to be a douche. I'm gonna take. All right.
look, I was picking third, and I gotta go where
here we
the
go
I gotta
again.
go where.
Like nobody else ever picks third.
Now you said if you had done this, if you had done the same thing, Matt would have closed his laptop, put his hat over his head or his hoodie, and shook. Right.
Yeah.
If Matt wins this draft, I'm doing the same thing.
Okay. Noted. Put it in the show notes.
Well, I've got on this Astros jersey as a tribute to Jose Cruz Sr. And briefly, I believe Jose Cruz Jr. But they make their Jose Cruz Jr. makes his home in Houston, so that's my Astros tribute. Let's get to this because I'm excited to have Jose Cruz Jr. on the show, as are you two. Right? Can you get over this
Absolutely.
moment that you're getting mad?
Oh,
at
yeah,
Matt?
yeah.
No, we're taking
can we-
different cars home.
We're taking different cars home. Frank, you're pumped. Frank's pumped. Let's get to this draft result and judgment.
We are here. We've got our judge, and let's get into it. Our judge today is Jose Cruz Jr., the perfect guest for this Father's Day week episode of This Day in Sports, as his father, Jose Cruz Sr., played in the majors for 19 years. As well, his son Antonio was a standout player at Rice. His other son Trey is currently with the Erie Seawolves, the AA affiliate of the Detroit Tigers. This is like and you have two uncles as well who were also made the majors as well. So it's like a whole baseball family, perfect for Father's Day. Jose had a 12-year MLB career that began very briefly with the Mariners in 1997 before he was traded to the Blue Jays, where his career really began. He was second in Rookie of the Year voting to Nomar Garciaparra, who I believe is still, Nomar, who I believe is still out there somewhere adjusting his batting gloves. With the Jays, Jose had a 30-30 season in 2001, one of only two Jays ever to do that, he and Sean Green, and became a true Jays fan favorite. We were sad to see him leave Toronto, but he went on to play with the Giants, the Rays, the Diamondbacks, the Red Sox, the Dodgers, the Padres, and then finally with the Astros in Houston, where he now makes his home coaching the baseball team at Rice. Jose hit 204 home runs, had 624 RBIs, 113 stolen bases, and he drew a lot of walks. In fact, in 2003, he drew 102 walks, only 46 shy of teammate Barry Bonds. So he's a patient hitter. He's a patient hitter.
Pitches per at bats that year. Lots of pitches per at bats.
And
That's right.
we hope his patience continues today as he judges our Dork draft. Friends, welcome to the show, Jose Cruz Jr. Jose, thank you for being here.
Woohoo!
Thanks for the invite.
So great to have you. And obviously, as we said, absolutely perfect for this draft. So having a father who's a major leaguer and then coming up and doing that, just kind of briefly tell us, super helpful, too much, what was it like?
Well, people always ask me, what is it like to have a father that was a Major League Baseball player? And I often tell them, well, what's it like to not have a father that's not a Major League Baseball player? Because that's really all I've known. I didn't realize the magnitude, I think, or the impact that my father had in so many different communities until later. I think once I started walking in his footsteps, I kind of appreciated more of what he was able to accomplish later on. Even to this day, it's like the impact is felt in different places. But as far as a young player, I will admit that having the same name as my dad in school during attendance, especially early in the year, was definitely cringeworthy for me. It's like, oh God, here we go. But as far as baseball player, yeah, it's double-edged, I think, as a young man. I mean, so much expectation of you to be as good or better than your father. Is there. At the same time, you'll get an extra look maybe, but you're also expected to be so much better than everybody else.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the double-edged sword. For me, I never competed against my father at all. So it was never a competition for me. So I never felt that. I never had any of that stuff. It was more of a pride thing. I was so proud of what he was able to accomplish, and so grateful for the opportunity that he gave me to be able to go to a Rice University where I attended here. I graduated from here. So I mean that's something he did not have an opportunity to do that I was able to do and take advantage of. At the same time, it's like now I have both of my boys went to Rice as well. One graduated already. You mentioned the other one's in AA, and now one's about to graduate from the master's program here at Rice. So which is great. So now all of a sudden we have even more education, different perspective, a different route. So I mean, all in all, I was very happy and grateful for what he was able to provide for us. So that's kind of how I looked at it. I never was in competition. I still haven't been in competition with my father.
At least your father was such a beloved member of the community in Houston too, right? He's as well known for his involvement in the community there as he was as a player. He was a much beloved and a great player.
He can run for mayor.
He really, I imagine he could. He's one of the most iconic Houston athletes. At least you had a good, you didn't have to grow up in the shadow of a guy where the town didn't like your dad or whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's right. The bad guy, right?
Yeah.
Which is good. I never thought of it that way. So thank you for bringing that to light.
That's a little, just occurred to me as I was sort of looking it up. He was a great player, but a great human too. That's a nice, that's a good combo.
Thank you.
And so what's that one thing you've taken from that relationship and said, that's what I'm going to do with my kids? Like, that's the one thing I remember that really worked for me, or you want to pass on to
me as a player?
As a dad now too.
So one of the things I told my son was always like, hey, you're not in competition with me and you're not in competition with your father. You are your own person. You're writing your own book. This is your own book. I mean, you can reference some of our stuff and some of the things we did and some of the how we went about it, some of our suffering and how we made adjustments, but it's your book. You go out there and you do the best that you can with whatever tools you have. Because I mean, he's also a switch hitter, so he chose the most masochistic way to play baseball. It's the worst. I'll tell you a story. I was talking to Lance Berkman, and I'm like, Lance, my son wants to switch hit, and Lance goes, "Oh God, tell him not to." And I'm like, "I know, I did." I was like, "Did you try to convince him?" I go, "Yes, I tried to convince him to not do it." And he's like, "Oh God, okay." So he still wants to do it. Yes, okay. Let's see what we can do. Let's work with him. So I mean, it's telling you, it's a pain in the butt. It's wonderful and it's working great, but man,
I can't imagine the work involved in maintaining a swing from both. Like, you hear guys talk about how hard it is to stay in a good place with your swing from one side.
I look at players as regular players, and then I put switch hitters in another category because it's just like
crazy people.
I do it just, over here, because it's just like, and you're right at what you said. It's like, but we're at a major league level.
Yeah,
and we're maintaining two swings at a major league level. Yeah, two of them, right?
I can't imagine
in the same amount of time as everyone else, but we have only the same body, and so we're torquing all over the place, right and left, trying to get your eye right and see things. I mean, for me, it was like I was always see things in a mirror. So when I visualize, I see it in a mirror. I have a tough time visualizing first person, so everything's third person, and I'm always like looking at myself. So I can always imitate everyone opposite side because everybody looked like a mirror to me.
Right.
So I think that's why I ended up switch hitting.
Right.
Because that's how I looked at things. And it worked. And you know what? And being dumb and young and dumb is great because you have no idea that you're not supposed to do something. So that worked out for me in my favor.
That's interesting because you think about someone like Mickey Mantle, and his father was like, "You're going to be a switch hitter. Like you're just going to be, and we're going to make sure you are because that's how you're going to be successful." And it's a different approach than you're crazy to think that you'd want to do that and like
it's crazy,
taking all that on.
I started switch hitting, by the way. I started switch hitting because we were the summer after my senior year in high school. We were my dad had a place near the water in Kemah, Texas. And we'd go there. And then one day he goes, hey, you know what? To make it fair, I'm going to hit right-handed and be on your little brother's team. And you're going to hit left-handed and play with your friend over here. So it'll be 2 against 2. It's like a broomstick and like a little small tape ball that we used to mess around with. And you're going to hit left-handed and that's it. And so I was like, sure. So I hit left-handed that day. I was absolutely crushing the ball. I never hit left-handed, crushing it. And he got so pissed, he switched from lefty or righty back to lefty and just trying to make the game fair. He was so pissed. So that was the beginning of me switch hitting, by the way. I did not switch hit until my freshman year in college.
Wow.
That's even more masochistic. Oh my gosh.
And then here's where young and dumb and stupid is great. National Freshman of the Year.
Wow.
Not knowing what the hell I was doing.
And you kept hitting with that broomstick, which was crazy.
Also a weird first 2 seasons. Just
please hit with a bat. Please hit with a bat. You wouldn't do it. So we had some just do like kind of a rapid fire quick questions before we get into the draft. But Matt, you have a question?
Sure. Yeah, we just talked about how Houston loved your dad and your dad loved Houston. But when they started talking about park effects, like when Bill James started to analyze them and everybody since, they say, his numbers could have been even greater if he hadn't hit in the Astrodome, which leads to my question for you. What was your favorite park to play in? Did you have a favorite ballpark to play in, either for, you felt you played well there or you just loved to be there?
Well, I think there's a lot of, it's not as simple, that question. Because it depends. Like, what part of playing there are you talking about? Are we talking about? They're talking about at an actual place where the ball carries, or how the field played, or the fans, or the environment, or what?
I was hoping to wrap it all together, but we'll pick a specific one. Mike said hitting. Let's go with hitting. Your favorite park to hit at?
So the favorite part to you know what? That's a really good question. I had a lot of success. I did well in Yankee Stadium for whatever reason. That was a good place that I had good series all the time. It seems like I did well there. I still think I might have a record. I think I hit the most homers by an opposing player in Yankee Stadium, like in a single season or something.
Wow,
that's fantastic.
Okay. Something like
that left-handed swing in that park, that's nice.
Okay, that's right. As far as the balls carrying, I thought the ball in Arizona carried really well. The ball in Milwaukee carried really well. I thought those 2 spots, it was kind of nice to hit in those 2 spots. Cool.
And then I guess this is a follow-up question. Which park?
Cleveland was good. I like Cleveland, by the way, as a field, like the playing surface. I didn't even have to dig in. Like, you just put your feet in, and it was like just perfect. So as far as batter's box, probably Cleveland.
So just going to do a quick follow-up question. Which park would you like to see gone forever? Which park were you like, every time you went there, like, I just don't want to be here? And that can be any factor. I didn't even have to be hitting.
You can say Rogers Center. It's okay.
I thought I had a tough time seeing the ball in Tampa. Tampa was like, it was weird. The ceiling, everything was kind of just odd. I remember I played an older Wrigley. They fixed it up some now, but going there was, I swear, I was walking uphill to go to the home plate. That's what it seemed like. Like, I'm going uphill. It was crazy. Like, the field, there was no batting cage. You had to walk, like, there's this maze and upstairs and all these things to get to the clubhouse from it. It was just really thick, like backyard grass, it seemed like, in the infield. It was just super slow. Yeah, Wrigley. I didn't play in Wrigley that much either. Of all, what's such funny? Of all the fields I did not homer in, I did not homer in Wrigley, I did not homer in Cincinnati, and I did not homer in Houston. And those are like the 3 bandboxes, where people. I missed them. But I would say those 2 kind of stand out just in thinking real quick, because of those reasons that I was just like about it.
I don't know if this is 100% accurate, but I believe, and Mike, you might be able to back me up here. I think there's a story about when Bill Buckner was in Chicago that they grew the infield grass long because that helped the team just to like stop all those like kind of bunted balls, whatever it was, just like kill. And Buckner one time hit a ball that was just dribbling the infield, and as he ran to first, he screamed, "Cut the grass!"
I very good chance of that, because I'm telling you, the ball would just not go anywhere in the grass. It would just like backyard grass, man. Just
like you're playing bocce.
Not great.
Do you want to get into it, Mike? You want anything? Or you want to jump into the draft? You have a question?
We could do the draft if we're running low on time, or I could.
We're never low. Jose's staying all day, so
let's do the draft. That's okay. We don't want to take up too much of his time.
All right, Mike. I think you've got a great question.
No, I was gonna. We're Jays fans, Jose, and you spent 6 great years in Toronto, and you were, as Sandy said, a much beloved player while you were here, and still are. I wondered if there was a guy you played with during your time in Toronto. You know, we all watched those games, and you guys were always a good team, but you were at the height of the Red Sox and Yankees, sort of both being such powerful teams that you were never really able to get into the playoffs and stuff. But I always wonder, was there a guy you played with during that time, who, a pitcher or a player, who you thought was going to have a great career, and for whatever reason, it just never happened for them? That maybe that guy could have been somebody to sort of put you guys over the top, but for whatever reason, injuries, whatever luck, it just never happened. Is there
a player or pitcher? Does it matter? Anyone?
Yeah, whatever. Anybody comes to mind that you think like,
I always
be great.
I always, when I look back at the Blue Jays time, we were, I think we were really good, and it does stink the fact that we were going up against like the greatest Yankee team of all time or whatever.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But with that being said, as 2000 came and 01 came, we were starting to gain some traction, and they really respected us. They did not like facing us because we were we were very offensive. We were actually fearless, and we were fast.
Yeah.
We had big guys in the middle of the lineup. I mean, hell, we set a record, right? For the most, I think we had the first team with 4 players at 20 homers or more in the
All-Star break.
Yeah. We had a team, we had like 2 or 3 guys at 40. We had like 4 or 5 guys with 30 and a couple other guys with 20 homers.
Some guys who could run too.
I think if we stay together another year in 03, we become formidable. I think Shannon Stewart might have even got MVP votes maybe that year.
He did.
We did not get the Chris Carpenter that the Cardinals got in Toronto.
Yeah.
Roy Halladay was a machine at that point in time. Kelvin Escobar became a really, really good pitcher in Anaheim.
Yeah.
So those were our starters, right? And they're all young.
Yeah.
Right. We were right in the middle of it. So, I mean, if let's just say we keep Shannon and myself, and we add in Vernon Wells, we keep Orlando Hudson, right? And we have Carlos Delgado. We probably keep Tony Batista, right? We either have Alex Gonzalez at short, or we have we could have been a better evolved Felipe Lopez, although he was a little crazy at the time, which he might be a guy that.
Yeah, that's who I was actually thinking of. Yeah.
He was really good, man. He was really good. We also traded Cesar Izturis, who won a Gold Glove or 2, which he would have been nice to have too at that point in time at short.
Yeah.
With those guys being there, it's like all of a sudden, like we're really good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the pitchers are what they are. Let's say we have Carpenter and Roy are Cy Young candidates back to back.
Yeah.
I mean, we're a nightmare for people to face.
You had a good bullpen then too.
Yeah, the guys do. Quantrill was in there.
Yeah.
Plesac and those guys.
Yeah. Crabtree.
We were solid. We're a very solid team. So outfield would have been fast. The infield would have been fast.
With
the hitters. I mean, it's formidable. I think.
Yeah.
It's like, I think they shorted us a year.
Yeah.
One more year, man. And I don't know what it was. Maybe it was JP Ricciardi. I think Gordash had us, and we were kind of building, and then JP came in and just kind of
wanted to make his own mark. Yeah.
Yeah, and
certainly with the extended, with more wild card teams now, I think you guys would have had a shot to.
100%.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah,
100%. So it was
a less imbalanced schedule too. You guys were playing the Yankees and Red Sox 19 times a year.
Come on, man.
That's a grind.
Like we faced Mike Mussina, Pedro Martinez, and whoever, Roger Clem, whoever, all these other basically Hall of Famers.
Kurt Schilling, all those guys,
yeah, Schilling, I forgot about him. Jeez.
That's rough.
So it was Mariano Rivera. You know
Oh,
what I mean?
by the way,
like, God, uncle, man.
Okay, time. That's what you guys needed. A little more time.
We need a year.
Cool answer.
Well, I think this is like this alone would be enough to make this episode special. But we're going to get into the back, circling back.
There's so many layers here. We can still go.
So many layers. Could be like a 4-part interview. I wanted to. We want to jump into our draft though. We got to accomplish this, and this is the father-son duos, MLB duos, and we have 3 teams we've drafted, and as we said before, the Cruz combination was not on the table because that would just make it too easy or too biased maybe for Jose. So we've got 3 teams
and the
there.
Standards, just to be clear, were what? WAR? Is that what we were
the
going
standards
on?
were your opinion, and also WAR is fine. So whatever you want to do, Jose, it can be personal opinion, it can be anything that stands out. We're just going to talk through them. So jumping right in, you see these 12 combos. What's one that jumps out at you right away is like, that's a great one?
Well, Ken Griffey Jr. And Senior, that's a good one. Barry Bonds and Bobby Bonds, it's also a good one. Those stand out immediately. Probably, I mean, they got to be like 1 and 2, if not 1 and 3.
I believe 1 and 2.
As far as like,
they're good. Ken Griffey, obviously my teammate when I was with Seattle, but his dad was my manager actually. In Puerto Rico. I remember he's pretty hilarious.
He's a really funny guy. Like he's
great,
really
man. Great. Also, his brother Craig Griffey was my teammate in AA, so I know that's the whole Griffey clan. And then Bobby, of course, Barry was like the best. I think the best player. Period. He was amazing. I'm good friends with Alomars, which is great. I'm in touch with Sandy a bunch. Talked to Robbie a bunch, and the old man's great. He's also a riot. Get both Sandys together. Quality. Popcorn, let them go.
Great. I love that.
I had Felipe Alou was my manager actually in San Francisco.
He was
great.
Oh, right, of course. Yeah.
He was a wonderful guy. Moises is a great guy too, man. He played with my dad actually. My dad was their coach with the Astros back in the Killer Bee days.
Right.
Did I lose you guys?
No, we're here.
I clicked the button. Sorry. All right. So then we got. I met Todd. I don't know. Was Mel the pitching coach for the Yankees?
He was.
Yes, he was.
During those years, we were just.
So I had Gus Bell, Buddy Bell. That was good, and also David Bell. That's a 3 one. It depends who you're going to pick. Because we're talking about third generations. I know the Bells are one. I believe the Boones are another one.
That was a controversy in our draft there, Jose. One person picked Bob Boone, Brett Boone, Aaron Boone, and then someone else jumped in and said, "You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pick Ray Boone and Bob Boone," and that the whole podcast blew up. There was a big battle. I don't want to tell you who it was, though it might have been Matt and Mike. But
there's also the Harrisons. I think the Harrisons.
Yeah, they're a dynasty too. Yeah,
they have a few. There's 2 brothers. I played with both of them, and the dad that played. And I don't know if they had a grandfather too. I don't know.
I don't know either, but Jerry Senior and Junior certainly played, and Scott. There's a number of them too.
Then you have the Fielders. That's also really good, man. And then we'll see the Bichettes are. We'll see because Bo's really good, man.
Man, is he ever?
That guy he's really good, man.
Yeah,
formidable, offensive, just really juggernaut. But he is. And then the fielders are good. I mean, that's okay. Alamar's, Flash Gordon. Yep. No, he was also on the old Red Sox team that had to face a bunch.
Yeah.
I did not like
he was he might have was he closing in those years? I feel like he was a closer at that point.
He might have been. I did Stephen King write a book with him.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's how I look every time I saw, oh God, Stephen King wrote a book about this guy.
I think it's called The Girl Who Loved Flash Gordon. That was called something
don't
like
look
that.
him in the eyes, man. Don't look at him in the eyes.
No, don't.
All right, so right here, okay, Vladdy and Dad, those are both really good, man. He's also Will See at the end of it.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah.
So you played a lot with these guys, and you had.
I mean, I got to go. If I'm going to eliminate one, I'm going to eliminate one. I would say I would eliminate Team 3. Sorry,
Okay.
Team 3.
Yeah. No, that's
I think Team 1 and 2 are probably the two that are.
It's down to Team 1 and Team 2.
Team 1 and 2.
It basically comes down to the Griffies versus the Bonds, I think.
Yeah, picking third would be tough for whoever that was.
Yeah, but then okay, so Griffies and Bonds, probably edge Bonds, right? But Griffies are really good, no problem. But then you go Felipe and Moises. That's gonna be tough to beat.
Yeah.
Right. You got Prince and Cecil, okay. Maybe, I don't know. And then you have the Alamars to back them up. So you got Alamars versus Bichettes. But I think ultimately it's like if you're looking at war, father versus son, I don't know if Sandy got that much war, or the dad.
Sandy Senior, yeah, no, probably not.
So that's probably gonna hold him back a little bit. Same with the Gordons, and then you got the Boones. Which Boone are we talking about? Probably Brett, I would imagine, right?
Yeah,
Bob,
I think Brett had a better playing career than Aaron did, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. Brett hit 2 balls off Chris Carpenter in Seattle, man.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know if I can hit a ball that far left-handed, and he hit it opposite field twice.
Wow.
Like, oh my God.
Yeah, we were saying he had a monster 2001 with that.
Yeah, that was the year that Ichiro's rookie year.
Yeah.
I want to say that the Blue Jays made Ichiro star. And I never he had, oh my God. He came in and it was like I don't know what he had, like 8 hits in 2 days. And I remember Esteban Loaiza is like, because he was just raking every first pitch, raking. And then Loaiza is like, I'm not giving him no first pitch fastball. I'm gonna throw a curveball in there, man. I'm not falling for that. So he comes in, first pitch of the game, curveball, and Ichiro whacks a triple in the right center, man. I remember playing center field, like whack. Oh God, no. Nice job. Hey, work.
Yeah, good strategy.
He wasn't expecting that one. And then he ended up getting 3 more hits that day. But I mean, it was just like that was one of the coolest, like, wow things I've seen.
I think
Mauer hit like 10 hits or 11 hits against us in 2004. I think I was with the Rays in 3 days, which is like the Ichiro and Joe Mauer were like the 2 best 3 days I've seen.
Wow.
Sorry. So
no, don't apologize for talking baseball. This is what it's all about. And I think Ichiro is a good example of a guy who's the balance between physical and mental is like exactly right. He knows the mental game and physical game perfectly.
If you watch him take batting practice, you'd be like, what is happening?
Yeah.
It's bombs.
Yeah.
Bombs.
Yeah.
Everywhere. Bombs.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, he's so accurate with the ball. It's amazing, man.
Yeah.
Bombs. Like, he used to hit the ball over straight center in Tampa, like on the top of that building that they have in center field.
Yeah.
And you're like, where's this?
Yeah.
Why don't you do that in a game? One of those things. But he was just really good at his craft, and he stayed with it. That's why
he did exactly what the team needed. It's like
arguably the best
this
hitter
is how
of
I
all
hit.
time.
Yeah.
Anyway, of all time, you could argue it.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
he had 3,000 hits, and he didn't come to the majors till he was like 27.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like it's.
Unfortunately, his dad or kid did not play in the majors, so we will eliminate Ichiro.
He's ineligible.
Imagine the pressure of his dad, Ichiro Jr.
Yeah.
Raise your hand right here.
Yeah, there's always a few like sad, like really hard ones where like Pete Rose's kid, remember, played.
I talked to him. I talked to him like 2 weeks ago.
That must have been really hard.
Yeah, I imagine. Huh? Are you related? Yes.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah.
And you're only right-handed? Well, what are you doing? Man, so Barry, Felipe. Okay, Bobby, Felipe, Sandy, Flash versus Ken, Cecil, Dante, Bob. All right, the dads are probably winning that one, or team 2 is probably winning that one. Then you got Junior, Barry,
Oof.
Prince, Moises, and you got probably Roberto, versus Bo, and then you got Brett versus versus D.
Yeah.
Well, that's a tough one.
Very tough.
It's really good.
A lot of I'm noticing again a lot of Hall of Famers and managers in here.
Yeah. Man,
You want to check the board
I thought
behind
team
you?
2 was gonna win, but man, team 1 is really good too, man. Bo's last 2 months last year was crazy. What he was able to do, by the way.
Yeah.
He's really special as a hitter, really special.
He's
leverage.
Yeah, he's becoming a better defensive player day by day too,
which is good. I mean, ultimately, it'd be nice if but he's playing the premium position, right? But if he was just, hey man, go play second base and just rake, that'd be pretty cool too, man. Because it would be just less pressure.
I'm sure they thought about it. Yeah.
Man,
a few less of those loopy throws to first would be great too.
That would make all of us feel better.
Yeah. Nervous times.
Yeah. Dante, Bo, Sandy, Roberto. God, you guys did a good job, man. I'm stuck.
Well, you can always declare a tie. We haven't had a tie yet. That's totally fine too. And unless the answer's on the board behind you, I don't know how much research you were doing and putting on all those boards, but maybe if you flip the board, the answers.
The answer might be there, and I have some.
That'd be quite the magic act.
There's a quote back there. Flipping, like there it is. So they're both teammates, so I can't go that route. I got more tread with team 2 because the Alomars are my guys.
There you go.
And they're listening, so that's going to be important that you don't mess.
They're actually right here with me.
All right. Let me see. Team 2 winner, team 1 winner. Okay, team 2. What I don't know in the all-time ranking of father sons. Where does the fielders at? They got to be up there, right?
They're up there,
like what 5-ish or something like that. What do you think, Mike? Somewhere in there?
Yeah, something like that. What's amazing is they both retired with the exact same amount of home runs.
You're kidding.
Did you know that?
What was the home run?
319 each.
No way. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
I know.
Okay, so 319 there. And then you have Luz played forever. Both
if you're doing war, I can show you. Yeah, Bonds, obviously, because of
Bonds 1, Griffey's 2.
Yeah, and then the Luz are 3.
Okay,
and then it looks like Ray and Bob are up there too. And
where are they?
Stottlemyers.
But where's Ray and Bob number wise?
Well, they sit at 25 and 27. That's number 4. As far as war, if you're just doing war, the Stottlemyers, who you love, 40 and 21. Hey, there's you, 6. The Cruzes are at 6. And then the Bells are at 7. The Alomars are at 8. If you're doing Sandy, and then the bonus they say is Sandy Alomar Jr. But
so where are the fielders at?
They're not in this ranking here, but I may have gotten this late. So they may be in another listing that's a little more up to date or accurate, but I don't see them.
They were 10. Also kind of
10. Oh, 10. Cecil was only a 17 war.
So their collective war is like 40.5. I think Prince was a 23. I think 0.3.
Yeah. And the dad was what?
17.
17.2.
Yeah.
So I had more war than the dad. Nice.
And he absolutely did. Retired young too.
Okay. Yeah. Well, then I gotta go team 2, man. Winners.
Yeah.
Oof. Tough battle, Mike. Battle, Mike. And both were good choices.
It was thank you all. It's very close. Close photo finish, but we're going team 2.
Much respect to you, Jose. That was by far the most considered response we've had for a draft yet. Like, seriously,
Hey,
like
it was good. It was put together. It was thought through. It was good.
Yeah,
there was definitely some deep thinking. It's there was over 200 father son duos, I believe, and then they throw in things like Yaz as grandfather and grandson, things like that. But you like you said, you could end up being a triple generation MLB.
That'd be a different one.
Yeah, different draft.
Yeah, exactly. That little tighter.
It's not that many, man.
Group. No,
I don't even know who's all there, but I know the Bells and the Boones.
Yeah.
And I think there's a couple more, and I'm not even sure. I didn't think there were that many, but apparently there's like maybe 4 of them or 5, maybe.
Right. And if we do this, it sounds like if we did this draft in 10 years, the Matt Holliday's kid and him would be one of the people we take too, because it sounds like he's something else too.
Yeah.
Bobby Witt.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Right.
We also
Mondesi, to see where
Mondesi kid. That's right. Yeah.
He's good. His dad did very well.
We didn't talk about the Clemens as well. It's 2 generations.
Clemens,
right? Yeah.
There's father son now.
Yeah.
Wonder who else. I'm sure there's a couple more. Oh well, there's Biggio, right?
Yeah.
That's there.
At one point, the Jays had an infield. Their whole infield. All their dads had played MLB because when Shaw was with us.
That's right.
Right. That's right. I faced his dad. Yeah.
Yeah. It was
Funny,
really
man.
interesting. All 4 were, all had their dads.
Oh hell, maybe my son would end up in Toronto.
Yeah.
Hey, we'll take it. I mean, he was born here, wasn't he? He was born in Toronto, was he not?
Yeah, he was born in Toronto. Yeah,
that's
Trey,
right. So
Trey and both my boys were born in Toronto.
Yeah.
Chris Bassett just had his son born in Toronto the other day.
Yeah.
He's an American, but he's got same as you. He'll have a son who's dual citizenship now.
Maybe WBC Canada.
Yeah.
Jose, when was the last time you were back in Toronto?
I was there last year, probably in September.
Yeah.
I usually go. I think I'm going to go next month. There's usually different things. Maybe I think there's something I'm going to be talking at the end of the month in July. I'll come and do certain appearances or whatever.
Okay, well, keep us up to date.
I enjoy it.
Keep us up to date because it'd be great to see you in person.
Yeah, for sure, man. I'm thinking I'm going to be there at last week of July.
Okay, perfect. We're going to book off the whole week.
I will bring the fielders with me, and you can explain to them why you didn't pick them.
Well, I'll tell them, hey, you know why? Because I'm better friends with the other group.
That's fair. That's completely fair. That's completely fair.
I've had more beers with the other guys than with you.
There you go.
And actually, his last year was, I want to say it was 98 maybe, and was with the Blue Jays. Maybe it was 99, but it was in the spring training with the Blue Jays.
Yeah.
I was there. I think I saw his last batting practice in the cage.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, I do have that one. That's what happens when you're naming all those teams. I'm like, man, yeah, it's a lot of teams.
Yeah.
But I played with a lot of guys. So I know
you did. Yeah. You had a long career.
Insight.
Did you, just as a closing then, you don't have to be Toronto biased, which team did you have the most fun with? Which was the team that was a good time?
Yeah. I mean, I would say the Blue Jays. Yeah. Some of my closest friends were there. I'm still in touch. Like one of my closest friends is Carlos Delgado. Still, I keep in touch. And Stewart still.
Delgado is always for me the big. He never gets talked about, but he went off the Hall of Fame ballot so quickly. I just think it's because he played on those Toronto teams.
Probably.
It drives me crazy that he didn't get more consideration.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's really good, man. Like for his era, I mean, he was a force.
Yes,
he was a force. He was a game changer.
Yeah,
and he was a good citizen, really.
He's still great teammate, he's a class guy too.
He's done well. He's doing well, man. He's living life. He lives in Puerto Rico. He lives in a great part of the island.
Yeah, I'm sure he's not worried about it, but yeah. I'm sure he's not too worried about the Hall of Fame. I'm sure he's fine.
No, I mean, of course, I think it would have been nice though to be recognized like that.
Yeah.
So, which is great. I was with him and with Beltran. Probably in December, we were talking about it. I think Beltran's up. He's going to be soon for the Hall of Fame. That's
That's a Mike favorite. Mike Shera, you're a huge fan of Beltran.
He's good. Again, he's one of the true players, switch hitters.
Yeah.
Around. Yeah. So it's something. I mean, it's something to consider.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Well, we could talk this all day, and if you're watching us on YouTube, we could talk Mike's hair all day. But we're gonna.
Nice work, man. Nice work.
We had Jose. We had
what kind of product do you use there?
We had Bob Tewksbury on the show.
That is just getting up in the morning and walking around.
Is that convertible? Is that what it's called? Convertible.
This is a hairpiece. It's a hairpiece. Don't kid yourself.
Jose, we had Bob Tewksbury on our first episode, and first thing he said is, "Who's this Mike? Is he a hair model?" He immediately called that. Continue the trend. Continuing the trend.
I think that's all the stress of the draft. You know,
It is.
pulling at your hair, Mike.
Nail biter.
So who won? Who picked the teams?
I picked that team. I picked the winning team.
Nice
Mike was
job.
second, and Matt was the distant third. Matt.
I was a distant third, and nothing against anyone on my team. They're all great. I just think it was hard going up against the Bonds and the Griffies, but I did my best.
How did you guys do the draft? Is it like a snake draft or?
Yeah,
that's right.
Well, we didn't snake back. We just went, 1 to 3, 1 to 3, 1 to 3.
Random.
Oh man, you should have snaked. That's crap. You got host.
Yeah, I got host.
Good call.
Oh
Good call.
man.
Okay, I like
Change
that.
man.
I got an
You
official.
snake drafted.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
There's
an asterisk on that win, Sandy.
Okay,
Put
all
an
right.
asterisk on there.
I'll
Thank
take
you very
it.
much. Snake draft asterisk. Jose, thank you so much for joining us on This Day in Sports. You've been outstanding. We'll definitely want to have you back, and please let us know when you're in Toronto next.
Anytime, man. I love baseball. I'm a baseball fanatic. So
yeah,
works.
It works.
Thank you so much.
Perfect. Thanks, Jose.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, well, that was amazing.
Fair enough. Great guy.
Weak.
Oh, you're still upset. Okay.
No, but somebody's got to play a role. We got to have something.
Well,
get people to talk about.
Here's the great
Some
thing.
friction.
Here's the great thing. You're upset. You're upset with Matt.
No,
and we're gonna take a hiatus from the show, and it's not because you're upset with Matt.
I'm going to rage counseling.
We had always planned to take about a month off, so we're taking about a month-long break. But the great thing is, if you're just catching up with This Day in Sports, there are now 20 episodes out there out there for your podcast, everywhere you get your podcast. Also on YouTube, you want to see these visuals. These visuals happening right now. The hot visuals.
4 better-looking dudes you could not find.
Absolutely true. And so we're taking a quick break. We appreciate everybody who's been listening and watching on YouTube. And we're going to go back and do some hot research and be back very soon. I'm Sandy Jobin Bevins.
I'm Matt Kippen.
I'm Mike Shera.
And it was This Day in Sports.